All right, today is Sunday, getting towards the end of February. It's, what's the day? I think the 20th, somewhere around there, 20th. Anyway, it's Sunday in February, whatever today's date is. I'll get that correct later. And getting ready to head out on 2022 FTR-S. Going to link up with my buddy and his brother, both fellow alums from Arnold Modern Mexican Military Institute in the right today. We're hoping that Dennis the Menace is on the Sportster-S, and if he is, I'll do a little bit more filming with his bike and the FTR-S, which I'm still convinced that the Harley-Davidson, when they came out with the Sportster-S, they were looking at having it be competitive with this bike, not the Indian Scout. If you look at the specs, and I haven't ridden a Sportster-S yet, but I have ridden the Indian Scout, which is, I'd love to have one of those bikes. I love the way they ride, the way they feel. The Sportster-S, everything on paper says it outperforms the current Scout that Indian has, until they upgrade that into and probably put this one in it. Which this is a Scout-based motor to begin with, this 1200cc motor and the FTR-S. So taking this out today, and almost 1 week into having this paid off, meaning that we paid it off last week, and checked the ride period at the company that we used to finance the bike. So we paid it off in 6 months. So anyway, yeah. I'm hoping he's on his Sportster-S, his 2021 Sportster-S, and maybe talk a little bit more once I link up with the two of them. It's not supposed to be a short video. I'm not going to go play today. We're going to head south to a place called Madrid. Probably have lunch there. Maybe head down towards Albuquerque and come back around. I don't know if we'll come back through the mountains, back to seeing where we went down there, or hit the interstate, which I heard getting an I-25, but anyway, should be a good day to ride. It's supposed to be in the mid to high 50s today here in north central New Mexico, and I'm sure a whole lot warmer once we get down towards Madrid and Albuquerque. So with that, for now, so I'll link back up with my buddy, hoping he'll be on the Sportster-S. Espinosa. All right, over here in north central New Mexico with Dennis the Menace on his Sportster-S, his buddy on a Sportster, or his brother on a Sportster 48, and I didn't bring out my Sporty today. I brought out my Indian. So as I was saying earlier, this badass bike right here was built, in my opinion, to compete with that, not the Scout. So Harley-Davidson, this is Harley-Davidson's answer to Indian's FTR-S. Specs are almost identical on both bikes. And here is what used to be the Sporties. The last of the Evos. What year's your bike?
2020.
2020. So we got here the 2020 Sportster 48. I was going to bring out my 93 Sporty today, but I brought out my Indian. So the beautiful lines of the classic Sportster that changed very little since 1957. The Evo that's been around the Sporty since I think about 85 or 86. And the new kid in town and the next evolution of Sportster with the 1250 Evolution motor. So there we go, Dennis the Menace and his bro. Gonna head down, have some lunch. We might head to Albuquerque. So I'll talk more later as soon as we're done with the ride, or maybe at our stop in Madrid. And with that, Espinosa out. All right, here we are in Santa Fe. 3 Harleys and an Indian. So my buddy Dennis here got another Sportster-S rider Right here. What's your name?
Steven.
How you liking your Sporty?
Love it, love it, love it.
How long have you had it now?
Yeah, 2 months. Right, about 2 months. Yeah.
How long?
2 months.
2 months.
Yeah. It's a beauty.
He ain't afraid to ride it.
No.
There you go. So here in Santa Fe, we got 1 Indian and 3 Harleys, 3 Sportsters, old school Sporty, the 2020 Sportster 48, 1200, 2021 Sportster-S, the white. He's had it for 2 months now. And then my buddy's 2021, he was actually, as I've said in the previous videos, he was the first Sportster-S owner in the state of New Mexico. And my 2022 FTR-S. So I was going to ride one of my Sporties today, but got to represent Indian. And as I keep saying, that's Harley-Davidson's answer to this, not the Scout, in my opinion. Now, everybody's got their own opinion. I'd say ride all 3 bikes and then you can for yourselves decide what you think. But I think with the specs that Harley put on the Sportster-S, they were clearly aiming to compete with this bike, which it's arguable how well they could compete. The geometry of the bike's a lot different than the FTR-S. It's a lot lower to the ground. You got less lean angle. But a lot of people talk about this fat front tire, but the way it was designed for Harley-Davidson with a very high peak, everything that I've read on the reviews, these bikes have no problem in the corners. So that's pretty cool. C2 Sportster-S's. I've yet to see another FTR-S out here. I know there's a couple of first generations FTRs here, but haven't seen any 2022s. And for now, again, from Santa Fe, New Mexico, Espinosa out. So just got home from the ride today. So we did, I guess, 5 or 6 hours on the road. We ended up going to Albuquerque from lunch in a place called Madrid. Those of you that are from New Mexico or know the area know where Madrid is. And if you've seen the movie from a good while back, Wild Hogs, then you know exactly where we had lunch at. A little hippie town down just south of Santa Fe. So got to ride today with my friend, his brother, and new Harley Sportster customer that he sold. He works for Harley-Davidson, so he sold the guy, or Harley in Santa Fe sold their second Sportster-S to the guy that rode with us today. So that was earlier in the video, and it was nice to see 2 new Sporties out on the highway. Bikes, like I said, are very similar to this Indian FTR-S in terms of specifications with weight, the wheelbase length, horsepower, and torque. Very similar to what Indian put out with the FTR in 2019 and the current iteration, which is what I've got, the 2022 FTR-S. Of course, the geometry of this bike is more conducive to sport riding than the new Sporties. Straight line distance Sportsters, those Sportsters more than hold their own. Definitely with the FTR-S, but out in the twisties and in the mountains, Indian definitely has more than an edge on the new Sportsters, even though the way the tires were designed on the new Sporties, they handle better than I think most of us expected. But just the design of the bike doesn't allow it to compete with something like the Indian FTR-S or any of the FTRs in the FTR family of Indian motorcycles out on twisty roads in the canyons, or anything that has a lot of twisties where you're going to pull high speeds on twisty roads. They just don't have the lean angle and the geometry of the bike with the front forks and everything else. The bike's just not designed for that. Like I said, although it does do better than a lot of us expected it to do. As a matter of fact, with the 2022s, I believe the rake angle on this bike is 1 or 2 degrees steeper than it is on the first generation FTRs. So this bike's even designed to be even sportier than the first generation FTRs. But it was a blast riding with those two Sporties and the old 48 on the roads this morning. On the way back, it was just the two new Sportsters and me and my FTR-S. My buddy and his new customer there with the new Sportster-S decided they wanted to do high speed on the interstate. So we did the interstate, and pulling, you know, from 80 to triple digit speeds. I'm not a pro rider. They're not pro riders, but the bikes are very similar. You'd have to get two guys with similar weight, similar experience, on one on a Sportster, one on an FTR, and then see what, you know, how each of them pulls, which one pulls harder, or ride the same bike back to back, or ride the two different bikes back to back as the same rider and see how they pull and time yourself. But they're so damn close that it doesn't really matter. They're just fun as hell to ride. I max out this bike though because it's governed at 124, and I've done nothing with the stock programming of this bike. Those Sporties, I believe they top out at like 135 or somewhere in the 130s. So I I took this up to where it was governed, and then it just doesn't go any faster. 124 miles an hour is pretty darn fast. So more than fast enough for me. If I want to go any faster than that, I'll ride the bike under the cover there, the Buell, which is tops out at 150 something. I think 153 or 155 is where my Buell tops out at. And I've never taken it that fast before, and I don't think I'll ever take it that fast. But it was a blast getting on the highway today. We got into the, I think it was 67 degrees when we went through Albuquerque. And here in the northern part of the state, we're at about 58 degrees right now. So it was an awesome day. I think we're going to have a very hot summer here in New Mexico this year. So with that, there's the 2022 FTR-S. I'm well over 5,000 miles on this bike. 6 months into ownership of the bike. We now own it, as I put out on the video last week. We paid it off last Tuesday or Wednesday. And it is now belongs to my wife and me. And I ride it because she doesn't want to go get her endorsement yet. And the more I push her, the more she resists. But it'd be nice if she got her endorsement. And we got plenty of bikes for the two of us to ride together, or get her own. My wife likes more of the classic Triumph looking bikes, or some of the Japanese bikes. And now we're coming out with that old classic look with the flatter seat. That's her style that she likes. And who knows, maybe she'll get her endorsement before too long, and we'll get her one of those bikes. So with that, from north central New Mexico, late winter ride with two 2021 Sportster-S's, a 2020 48 Sporty, and we had a blast. Espinoza out.